And good evening.
Hi.
And welcome to the Vegan Hour, or as I like to call it this year, TVH. That's the cool way of saying it.
Yep.
This is episode 4, and I am joined tonight by Amanda Fisher from Plant-Based Babes.
Hi,
Thank you
everyone.
for joining us, Amanda. Now, this is Tuesday, February the 27th, and I can see people starting to come online already. And I will. This is the first episode of the Vegan Hour that we're doing direct from the computer. So using the new webcam setup that we have. So I'm certainly happy to receive your feedback as to audio and video and anything else that you may want to tell us about. Okay, so let's just get, while people are coming online, let's just get a couple of the events out of the road. And also let me just say a big thank you to my sponsors, Burleytown Storage and Removal. There, hang on, I've got a point, there it is. And Vegan Frothers. Now, Vegan Frothers are fantastic because not only can you get cruelty-free clothing from them, but they're supporting animal charities. Yeah, so really fantastic brand to get involved with. So highly recommend that you get your clothes cruelty-free from Vegan Frothers. Did that sound like a commercial or what? So before we get into talking with Amanda tonight, let's just mention a couple of things happening on the weekend. This Saturday, March the 3rd, my group, Vegan Life, is having a lunch at the new Vegan Isle Eatery and Bar.
Oh, in Tweed Heads.
In Tweed Heads. Have you been there?
No, I went when it was Loki.
When it was Loki, okay, yes. Well, I believe it's a similar menu.
Yeah.
Yeah. So was it burgers and
Yes.
and chips and pizza and that? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's pretty
All
good.
that
Isn't
amazing looking food.
Yeah. And what a location! You love
Yeah.
the location. You've got a
Yeah.
beautiful big courtyard area outside. I love it.
Yeah.
So you're quite welcome to join us. I'll put a link. And Paige says, Amanda,
Hi,
hello.
Paige.
So yes. So that's Saturday, and also Sunday in Brisbane. There's a Circle of Silence animal rights protest at 1 p.m. in Brisbane City. So there's plenty of other protests and that happening as well, but that was just the one that I wanted to mention. So okay, tonight is going to be all about health.
Yeah.
And we're going to be finding out from Amanda, I'm going to be finding out from you, your health journey, your transition from, I believe you had a lot of health issues.
Yes.
And also how not only have you transitioned over a period of time, but also you're now helping others. Which is fantastic. You're paying it forward.
Yeah.
Okay, that is fantastic. So let's start at the beginning. Can we start with some of the health issues you used to have before you were vegan?
Okay,
so take us through all the gritty stuff.
Okay, so before I was vegan, I was vegetarian.
Were you?
Yes.
Oh, okay. For how long?
So I was vegetarian for 10 years.
Okay, I didn't know this. Okay.
Yeah, but I was a terrible vegetarian, and I also thought I was doing the right thing for the animals and stuff like that.
So by terrible, do you mean that you were vegetarian when it suited you as well?
No, definitely no.
No,
It was
okay.
just like a junk food. So
right,
like chocolate,
okay.
cheese,
Yeah.
milkshakes,
Right.
all that sort of dairy and lots and lots of dairy.
Lots and lots of dairy. And Colleen says hello, Harry and Amanda.
Colleen.
And Paige says super awesome to have Amanda with you, Harry. It is super awesome.
Yeah,
it is fantastic
it is.
because the promo video with you has been one of the most watched promo videos I've ever seen. Like 1,100 and something views, which is amazing. So you were a vegetarian for 10 years before you became vegan, but in that time you had a lot of health issues still.
Yeah, I started to develop a lot of health issues.
So tell us about that.
Sort of acne, quite bad.
I can relate to that. Yeah.
Had scoliosis, which I've still got, but it's more sort of manageable, and a lot of the symptoms are a lot more manageable.
Okay, and for those of us that don't know, because even I wasn't sure what scoliosis was, that is actually curvature of the spine.
Yeah, so if anyone sees like my transformation pictures and things like that, you'll notice like a visible sort of like angle in my shoulders.
Okay.
And it's,
so, because are you like leaning to one side?
Yeah, so I lean to like this side quite a bit. I've got to constantly like correct myself and make sure that I'm sort of trying to sit as straight as possible.
Let's actually put your page up there, which I think that hopefully will work. I'll put a link which I think should work to Amanda's page.
So anyone can, friend request me and reach out to me, and and yeah, I don't really. I do have a Facebook page, but I more so use my personal profile. I find it better to connect with people on there. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So I put a link there. And Paige is eating a yummy bowl of roast veg as I listen. Actually, I was brought some beautiful food tonight by your husband, which was fantastic. Just before he went and did a streaker run through behind here, but when,
he did threaten to do it on air too.
He has threatened to do a streaker run on air. I've offered him $50 to do it, and I'm waiting to see if he will do it. But
and it's funny because Paige actually thinks that he looks like James Aspey too. So.
Not even slightly. There's not even, no. I'm sorry, Paige. No similarity at all. None whatsoever. Now, okay, so, sorry, we got sidetracked.
Yeah, so health issues. Yeah.
Health issues. So, scoliosis.
Yeah.
Acne.
Rheumatoid arthritis. So that's like extreme, like an autoimmune condition. And it pretty much, a lot of people don't think it starts in the gut. They're just like concerned because it really affects your joints and things like that. But a lot of the new research now is coming out that it sort of starts in the gut.
Interesting.
And obviously with dairy, having a lot of like that kind of food is highly inflammatory and can cause a lot of allergies. And it's not you're not meant to have it really. Like we're the only adults that drink the milk of another species.
That's right.
Yeah,
yes.
so it's like that bizarre thing, and yeah, you don't eat a lot of dairy, you don't have problems.
I find it really interesting, and it's actually it's not surprising, but I find it really interesting that as a vegetarian you were actually quite unhealthy.
Yeah.
And the reason I find it interesting is because I do have a lot of friends that are vegetarian, and I've seen different degrees of health with them, and some of them seem okay, and some of them are quite unhealthy as well.
Yeah.
So you struggled with that for 10 years?
Not for the whole time. I was like really young at the start of my becoming vegetarian. So
Shane says, offer Matt some purple food to
run. No, there's a bit of a backstory.
Okay.
On New Year's Eve, we were actually with Simone and Shane
from
and
Vegan
Chrissy.
Profits,
and
Chrissy Carvello.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so everyone was like having New Year's celebration stuff, and Matt was doing a rainbow food and then into a water fast, and so I think he was on purple foods for New Year's Eve, and so that's where the purple food with the lovely eggplant emoji comes from.
I bet Matt's outside there, just taking his clothes off right now, ready to come and do a run.
Just for you, Shane.
Yeah, I'm sure. Just for you, Shane, and I'm sure he's watching.
The karaoke king.
The things I miss that you people get up to. Wow. Okay, so it's hard to stay on track because so many people know you, and we're going off on these little tangents. I love it. Okay, so let's try and get back on track. So health-wise, you were, dare I say, you were a bit of a mess.
Yeah.
Weren't you?
I mean, by the end of it, I was, and I was like in my early 20s by this time. So it was like.
What age did you go vegetarian?
16.
16.
Yeah.
The same age I went vegan.
Yeah.
So why? Why did you go vegetarian?
I wanted to go vegetarian a lot earlier than that, but I don't know.
Let me guess.
My mum's watching.
Yeah. Oh, that's all right. I mean,
Mum wouldn't let me.
We love your mum.
She did. I don't think she. It was probably a bit weird at that time.
Yeah, but she thought she was doing the right thing.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
And yes, probably a little bit like foreign. My parents both grew up on farms and stuff around Casino and Benalbo and all that. So that's sort of that very like traditional diet and everything like that. And so.
And you came along and said, "I want to be vegetarian," and scared the hell out of them. But what was your motivation? What was your inspiration to do that?
Like I was in a Chinese restaurant and there was the tanks, and then they brought the fish out that was in the tank, and there's these people at a table near us, and they're banging the head of the fish, and I'm like, it would like finally hit home, like what it was, and then they pulled the brains out, and like this big bit of brain unraveled, and then they had a duck, and the duck came out on this tray, and it had like its whole head. It was like a whole duck with its head and everything still on, and they brought that out, and it's like hanging off the plate, and I'm like. I'm eating animals, like so I was just like, oh my gosh, this is
actually that's really fascinating too, because you were at a relatively young enough age to not have been so conditioned by society that you could still go, this is wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is great.
Yeah, I just was like, oh my gosh. And then from then, I sort of like, it was really hard because I knew what I felt was right, but I'm having been told that I can't do that. So it's like this really hard. So when I'd have choice of my meals, I'd eat vegetarian.
Right.
And what was I going to say is, yeah.
So at 16, you finally found the courage, or you just felt independent enough to say to your parents, look, this is what I'm going to do?
Yeah, like finishing high school and sort of that time when I was able to like make my own sort of decisions a bit more and take control of my cooking and things like that.
And for your parents, I mean, was that quite a shock?
No, not at the, like, obviously, because they sort of had known that I wanted to do it and they thought it was just a fad that I'd grow out of.
Well, obviously not, because, I mean, you grew from there.
Yeah.
Quite a lot from there. Paige says, thank goodness you woke up.
Yeah.
And actually, that's thank goodness for every person that's woken up and woken up towards compassion. So, okay, so you were at 16, you'd gone vegetarian. Yeah. And you thought that was...
I thought that was ethically like a good thing to do. And health-wise, I thought it was like a pretty decent thing to do as well. Mm-hmm. But I didn't have a lot of cooking skills. I still don't. I'm not, as I always say, I'm like literally not the chef in our relationship. That's Matt's job.
That's Matt's job, and he does a good job too. He brought me some wonderful food tonight. So
so I just keep things as basic as possible when I'm cooking now. But I always eat fresh foods now. But when I was first like vegetarian, it was just like, okay, what do I do? Oh, what does any like young kid do? They eat chips, they eat pizza, they eat chocolate, they eat all those kind of foods. And there wasn't all these awesome Facebook groups like what we have now.
And there wasn't all the awesome variety either, was there?
Yeah, no, definitely.
I mean, you just had to go and get Smith's chips or something like that, you know, from the supermarket. Not that I would have ever done that when I was a junk food vegan, which I still am.
Nothing's changed.
I mean, it's so. Before we went live tonight, we were saying how you were saying in the time that you've been vegan, how much it's changed.
Yes.
The availability of not particularly healthy vegan food.
Yeah,
right?
It was so much easier to be like a whole food, plant-based, healthy vegan because the options, as I was saying to Harry before, were like Cheesely, which tasted like
Cheesely
old socks.
Who remembers Cheesely? It tasted like plastic wrapped in old socks. I mean, if it tasted just like old socks on its own, it would have been all right. I used to use it as a doorstop. I mean, that's the only thing it was good for.
Yeah, and then there was the tubs of tofuti. And then they had their little plastic cheese like slices. I remember them.
Oh, yeah. They were those plastic cheese slices I used to use to prop up tables that were rocking. None of this was edible. I mean,
people reckon that soy cheese from Coles is horrible and should be like burnt alive. Cheesely, back in the old days.
We're sorry, Cheesely, but we're being honest here. I mean, really.
But I think you have redeemed yourself a little bit, Cheesely, if you are watching it.
If you are watching,
come and hunt me down. When I was in the UK just recently, Matt bought some, and it was pretty good.
It was all good.
It was good.
Okay.
So they've obviously updated their recipe or something now, and got moved along with the times. Obviously.
Excellent. I'm pleased to hear Cheesley's come to the party because there has been such a growth in vegan alternatives that surpass the non-vegan alternatives.
Yes, definitely. So it's easy now to not eat healthy as a vegan, whereas before it was easy to like eat healthy as a vegan. That was sort of the default option, and you really had to go and spend hours in the kitchen, really.
And who wants to do that when there's Feed the Earthlings down the road?
Yeah.
Or Mandellas, or Tian Ran, or Greenhouse, or I could just rattle them all off.
Yeah.
Paige says, "Oh, they were foul," and yes, that's about right.
Yeah, they were.
There was there's a photo somewhere. I've been meaning to find it. I want to use this photo from one of my Throwback Thursdays. It's a photo of me when I was maybe in my early 20s, and I was full raw vegan in those days. I was so skinny; it's painful to look at. I was ribs sticking out. I was like a head on a stick. I mean, I was so skinny. I looked at, it's been years since I've seen the photos. In the back of my mind, I was just like, that's how it was, because we didn't have all this temptation.
Yeah.
So, okay. So, you're vegetarian.
Yeah.
And you're travelling along, and your health is
started to decline.
Started to decline. It actually started to decline.
Yeah.
So what did you do?
Because I felt normal. I was young.
Right.
I felt in good health. I felt in good spirits and everything like that. But I didn't exercise. I hated exercise. I hated running, especially.
Ironic that you didn't exercise.
The funny thing was, like, I grew up doing a lot of swimming, and I was doing competitive swimming in surf club, and so I got to a point when I sort of finished high school where I was like, I have had enough. Like, I literally had done so many hours, and I loved it, but it got to the point where I was like, enough is enough.
It was just time to enjoy being young, wasn't it?
Yeah. And so I just got rid of all exercise, because I was like doing swimming in freezing cold pools every morning and things like that.
You mean the pools weren't heated? Oh, boy.
There was one. My parents, poor them, had to drive me from Pottsville to PBC.
Oh, to PBC.
Yeah,
where I used to swim.
To do my swimming training every single day.
But it's heated.
Yeah, it's heated, but before I was going to Kingscliff.
Oh, right. Okay. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So, at what point did you then start to make a transition towards waking up as far as your health was declining? And I mean, what happened next?
I just was like, I felt like this couldn't be it. And I really felt like there was more. I'm not huge on medications and a lot of things like that anyway. So I'm a little bit skeptical of all that kind of stuff. So I just really went, I think maybe like diet could have a fair bit to do with it.
Okay.
And it just really sort of started to hit home, like, obviously what I'm eating and what I'm not doing in the case of, because I was working in a law firm, I was sitting down all day, like I'd wake up, go drive to the train station, sit on the train, then catch the train to Brisbane, then I'd walk from the train station, which was probably about a 5-minute walk to my job. Right. So that's like the only exercise I was doing each day. Was
sitting in an office, air-conditioned office all day, which isn't great for anyone's health.
And I was doing like 10, 12-hour days, getting back on the train, going home.
Wow. Okay. Yeah.
And then all weekend I'd be like drinking with Matt and stuff like that. So a lot of things.
We blame you, Matt. Wherever you've gone, we're blaming you.
Yeah, he gets everything that goes wrong. It's always his fault.
Yes. For those who don't know, Matt is Amanda's husband and a constant blame person.
Yeah.
So, okay.
He just loves being blamed for everything that goes wrong.
Which is the role that husbands take on. So, tell us how you then transitioned towards veganism.
Well, I tried a lot of really silly things first.
Oh.
Like, not so far as like going back to meat or anything like that, because that just wasn't like ethically, like, didn't like never felt right to me anyway.
And you couldn't handle the idea of going back to eating animal flesh or that again.
No. So I'd do things like sort of soup diets. Like detox things. And
Did any of that work?
No.
No. Oh, okay. That's good.
No, this is what the hard time I have telling people is like, stop doing that stuff. Like, really.
I like soup diets.
No, you could do like
don't do soup diets
as part of your thing, but if you're just having like cabbage soup every day, it gets a bit boring, and then you just binge on the weekend.
Yes, you overcompensate.
Yeah.
Okay.
So don't do that, silly.
Don't do that.
That's not a long-term strategy.
No, it's not. No, don't do that. So okay. So then at some point you decided, I'm going to go vegan. Is that right?
Yeah, I had one. This is kind of like bad because I had to go before I actually went vegan, and it wasn't sort of my fault. It was my fault, but it wasn't like.
So you mean you went vegan and then you sort of.
But I felt like it was the right thing to do.
Right.
So I actually read Brendan Brazier's book and also Skinny Bitch. Because I really love the title Skinny Bitch.
I've heard of it. What was the other book?
The Brendan Brazier's book.
What's the title of that one?
I can't remember, but he's like an ultra runner and stuff like that.
Okay.
Yeah. And he started Vega.
He started what?
Vega proteins in the US.
Okay.
The very sort of first good tasting plant-based proteins that
I tell you what, you're hitting me up with a lot of stuff I don't know tonight.
That's okay. All right. We'll keep pushing your limits, Harry.
Yeah, I'm learning a lot. So, okay. So you've what's his name? Brendan Brazier.
Yeah.
And also Skinny Bitch. You read these two
books,
yeah.
And I was just like, okay, I'm going to give this veganism a go.
A go. Okay. Yeah.
And I started getting migraines.
Interesting. I mean, in hindsight, that would have been detoxing, right?
No, it wasn't. I actually had, because my office job, sitting over a computer, and a lot of stress that I had. I have compressed discs because of my scoliosis and stuff like that, but my neck muscles just like getting tighter and tighter, pulling my discs together.
Wow.
So I started getting auras in my right eye, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I have a brain tumor or something.
Wow.
But it wasn't that. And when I found out that it because then I went back, I'm like, oh, I must have to eat eggs and.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because you know how a lot of people feel like that. They feel like, oh, I had this health symptom that sort of developed after I went vegan, so maybe it's that and I have to go back. So that's why I do sort of mention that I did have a false start with my veganism.
Yeah, and that's fair enough, because some people take a few attempts before they finally fully make it.
But I knew that in my heart was the right thing to do. And so as soon as I sort of found out that it wasn't anything diet related, it was just to do with my back and my issues with my back, I was like, okay, I'm going vegan again.
Excellent. And that was 8 years ago?
Yeah.
That's fantastic. That's really good. Amy, I'll just interrupt there. Amy says it's about finding a healthy balance to suit your body.
Yeah.
Which is actually part of what you do now, which we're going to be talking about.
Yeah.
Is you working with women to
help them transition.
Help them transition, which is fantastic. That's the paying it forward. So basically, because you'd already been vegetarian, you were dropping out eggs and dairy. And so you found that relatively easy, or?
I thought I was going to find cheese actually quite hard.
As some people do, yes.
Yeah, a lot of people really are addicted to that cheese, and it's just like, once I'd gone a couple of weeks, I didn't.
You didn't miss it.
I missed eggs probably a little bit more, because it was going out to a restaurant, having that nice brunch. But now I just think, and I actually wrote this in my book, it's just you think about what eggs are.
Yes. Yes.
And it really starts to make you feel a bit icky.
Icky's an understatement.
And then you can't really do it.
That's right. That's right. And Paige says, great work, Amanda. You held true to what you felt right and never gave up.
Yeah.
And hugs.
Thanks, Paige. Yeah,
appreciate your comments there, Paige. That's really good. So, okay, so you didn't miss cheese, so
after literally 2 weeks, and mind you, this is where Cheesley was the go-to too. So it was, I didn't have bio cheese. I didn't have Nuchinese, which is all the rage. I was telling Harry about it before. I can't believe Harry does not know about Nuchinese.
It's obvious I don't get out enough.
Well, this is in Vegans in Australia. This was the hot topic, literally last week in Vegans in Australia.
Ironically, I don't get to see a lot of posts from them because my news feed is filled with so much stuff that it's very hard to keep up with anything. I get a little bit from here and a little bit from there, and occasionally something from Vegans in Australia.
So Nuchinese was all the rage now. And
explain to our viewers what that is.
Okay, so Veganese, the Follow Your Heart Veganese that you get from the supermarket. You get a jar of that, and you get a little bag of savoury yeast paste or nutritional yeast, and then you mix it together and you cook it together, and then you have it on pizzas. It's actually what was in your mac and cheese. Matt has used it in the mac and cheese that he makes.
See this empty container that I might have wolfed down earlier. In fact, I was making so much, Matt made a comment that it sounded like I was having some sort of food orgasm, making love to the mac and cheese or something. So there's Alison, hello Alison, she says hello, and Paige says, cheese, seafood, eggs, all the ones that people find hardest to give up.
Yeah.
And Paige, actually, it's different. Again, it's different for different people. For me, I never ate seafood, even as a meat eater.
I really had fish. I didn't eat any of the other ones. Right. I can't even have the fake prawns that they have.
Yeah, that's scary,
I had some of that at Easy House, and I was going. Trying to eat it. I couldn't do it. And that's a fake one.
I know, they brought them out at Easy House when I was there, and I just went, no thanks.
They looked real, and I never really liked prawns or anything like that when I was younger, before I stopped eating them either. So.
It's as icky as eggs.
Yeah.
It's just, Carissa says, I've not heard of that cheese. What's it called?
The Nuchinese? Nuchinese.
But it's based on...
Veganese.
Veganese, yes.
And savoury yeast flakes. It's just like a combination of them. Nuccinese. I think there's people coming up with like these awesome names for stuff.
It's better than calling it cheese Gary.
Yeah.
They should have called it Glary or Harry. That would be better.
We'd use the made cheese sauce for the green. Yes, that would go perfect on the greens. The Nuccinese would go perfect as like maybe sort of like a bechamel type style sauce on the greens.
Oh wow, you're coming up with these terms I've never heard of again. So, right, so you transitioned to veganism, and then and Carissa says when she's not eating raw, all raw, she'll be making this. Yeah, that's good.
So easy.
Now, in that time, in that 8 years since you've transitioned, you've certainly come a long way with some of the things that you've learned.
Yeah.
You've done your yoga teacher training.
Yeah, I did that at Essence of Living here on the coast.
Oh, that's at Mermaid, isn't it?
With Michelle.
Yes, with Michelle. You've become a personal trainer.
Yeah.
You did T. Colin Campbell's
plant-based nutrition certificate. Yeah.
Fantastic. I mean, these are all wonderful things that you are using now to help others.
Yeah.
Let's see. So transitioning to veganism, what did that do for your health?
Oh my gosh. Like, not sort of initially, like it's not like it's like one day I wake up and I'm like, yes, I'm so good, I can take over the world now. I didn't wake up and see like automatically kilos just dropping off and things like that. And that's one thing I tell a lot of people, like people think they want something to happen and they want it now. And we try all these crazy things to have that result right now and to not just be that little bit more patient and have something that will last forever. Like I took 9 months initially to sort of lose the 50 pounds, and it took longer than that for me to overcome rheumatoid arthritis and things like that.
So over a period of 9 months, you lost in metric 25 kilograms.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, but it took longer to get on top of the rheumatoid arthritis.
Yeah, and fatigue, and that actually cleared up sort of like
fairly quickly.
Yes.
Yeah, it does actually. When you drop dairy out, acne normally clears up pretty quick.
Yeah. So that was one good thing, and the extra fibre and water that I was eating really helped with that process. But yeah.
So you increased your water intake.
Yes.
And you increased your fibre through fruits and
veggies.
Yeah.
I'm a carbaholic, I call it. I love carbs.
It's a good addiction to have.
Yeah, carbaholic.
Carbaholic, that is fantastic. So now you lost that weight and you've kept that weight off in 8 years.
Yes.
Now in that time, you've also then, at what point did you decide I'm going to pay this forward and start helping others? How did that come about?
In about 2012, that's when I was sort of doing all my studying and everything like that, because I was like learning this, digging a bit deeper also for my own personal knowledge. So then I was like, okay, I'm going to do my personal training, I'm going to do my certificate with T. Colin Campbell and all of that sort of thing. And at that stage I was sort of thinking, like started to like blog a bit about it and things like that. And then that sort of evolved into doing online training with Matt, and then that evolved into having a gym.
Having a gym, which is something you had as well, yes, here on the coast.
Yes, here on the coast in Miami.
I want to step back a bit to doing the T. Colin Campbell's certificate. What does that involve in time and resources and all that?
It's pretty much just like a really good practical application of a lot of the things he found in the China study.
Okay.
So when it comes to...
And you do it online?
Yes. So when it comes to what to eat for optimal health, how to foods to eat to reduce chronic illness and things like that, inflammation, how to... He has a few of the other big name doctors that come and co-contribute. So Dr. Esselstyn is a co-contributor and stuff like that. So
excellent. Yes. This is good. John says we dropped out for a second. Maybe it was his computer, which is possible. Who knows? And Paige says,
on it too.
Yeah, it does sound like, because what I've noticed is listening to your live streams, because you've been doing live streams at 6:30 p.m. Queensland time on your page, and you did one tonight from here.
Yes.
And I was listening to you guys, and You were very, very informative, and most of what you talked about, I had no idea. It went right over the top of my head, and all I could think was feed the earthlings, feed the earthlings. But so I didn't. I'd have to sort of replay it over and over to get some of the terminology you were talking about. But it's obvious that you have gained a lot of knowledge in health.
Yeah, I never stop learning when it comes to it. Like, it's just my passion with it. We go to bed with a podcast playing.
Fantastic.
So that I can learn just as like we're falling asleep. Like, I literally always researching, always always keeping up to date with like the most sort of up to date and relevant studies when it comes to nutrition and things like that as well.
Would you have some recommendations of ones that you find really, really helpful and informative to share in podcasts and that?
I listen to Rich Roll's one. Definitely is a good one to definitely tune into. He just did a really good one with Dr. Joel Kahn, and it was keto versus plant-based.
Interesting. Yes.
And plant-based, just give you like the little inside scoop.
Plant-based for the win.
Yeah.
It's got to be.
Yeah.
Paige says, do the course, Harry, you will love it. I probably would. I would. I would find it very interesting. I probably would. I would find it interesting. So there is a lot of information, isn't there? A lot of podcasts. There's a lot of really informative YouTube videos. You've got a YouTube channel that you're just starting to
starting to like contribute to more, because I've I mainly focus on my Facebook page and Instagram, and I'm like, now that we're doing the live, I had it in the background, and then we started doing the lives. And so I started putting the lives on there, and I'm like, why don't I start to just do a few more videos?
Yeah.
Now that I don't have the gym and everything like that.
Yeah,
so
you've got the time to do it.
Yeah, I've got a little bit more time.
There's a question coming from Colleen that says, how severe were your RA symptoms?
So I would have pretty severe fatigue a lot of the time, and I was sort of propping myself up with a lot of caffeine and Red Bulls and things and pre-workouts, and I wasn't working out at all. So that was making things infinitely worse.
Yeah.
And I would be in debilitating pain a lot by the end of the day. Like, even though I wasn't walking a lot, I was sitting down, I'd be in pretty severe pain, especially in my feet.
In your feet, okay.
Yeah, especially in the joints in my feet. And that was quite severe. I remember one time I went to Splendor in the Grass, and I couldn't even stand up the whole to watch bears. I just had to sit down, and everyone's sort of walking on me, and I was like, why are you sitting down here? And I'm like, because I just physically couldn't stand up any longer. I needed a break.
Wow, that's a couple of questions coming there. John asked, could somebody leave a link to the T. Colin Campbell course? Yeah. Maybe you can do that after the live stream.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So we can do that. Amanda can do that later. Excuse me. Matt says, good day, Mr. Harry. And Amanda, because I used to be Mr. Harry, now I'm Mr. Harry.
Linda's popped it up already for us.
Linda, wow, you get a free meal from Matt. And Colleen, Renee says, hi Colleen. There's a whole conversation going behind the scenes that doesn't even involve us. I love live stream, it's so dynamic.
Yeah.
You started doing your own live streams late last year, didn't you?
Yeah, when Matt was in the UK, we just were and I'd come back home, I'd finished up in the UK, and we just started doing something fun to do to help people out a little bit more, sort of put some information out there to really help and just answer questions, because I have my free Facebook group that I run, and I just wanted to do something that was a bit live as well. Okay. And so not just constantly be this person that's just typing emails, typing responses, just because video is such a great medium to be able to connect with people a lot deeper.
You mean live stream video?
Yeah, or
both. Both. Yeah.
But live stream, anything can happen.
Yep. And it usually does. I had a thought then, and I hate it when this happened to you, and during your live stream you had a thought that fell out of your head when you were live streaming earlier. Same things happened to me. And it's relating to what you're talking about there. Yeah, okay, so you mentioned a free Facebook group.
Yeah.
Tell us about this.
It's for ladies.
Yeah. So straight away, Harry's not included.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it is just for ladies. So no gentlemen. And it's just like a safe space to talk about diet, exercise, nutrition. At the moment, we're doing a no cheat meal challenge.
No cheat meal challenge.
So no veggie bars, no feed the earthlings.
Veggie bars. Wow. Jeez.
No vegan Ben and Jerry's.
They are wicked, aren't they? Veggie bars. Wow. I mean, they're wickedly good. What about what's the other one? The ice cream bar that's made down over the border there. Yam bar.
Yam bars? No yam bars.
You've had them?
Yes.
What do you reckon?
They're pretty good.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
They're incredible.
Yeah.
They're like vegan crack.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah, but none of them at the moment, unfortunately.
Wow. Well, I'm glad it's for women only, because I don't have to worry about not being able to have cheat meals, because I have one every meal.
Yeah.
So this can we provide a link later?
Yeah, we'll put a link up in the comments.
So I'm curious. I want to get on to finding out how you help others.
Yeah.
That's part of how you help others.
Yeah.
But I also want to ask you. In the promo video, I shared a photo of you on stage in bikini, competing. Yeah. Can you tell us about some of the competing that you've done?
Okay, so I started competing, I think it would have been in 2013 I did my first comp, and then I did a comp in 2014, and that's actually where I met Chrissy.
Oh, right, yes.
We met in an American vegan bodybuilding group.
Wow.
And two vegans. We lived right around the corner from each other.
And we're talking, of course, about Chrissy Carvello, the vegan fitness model who has been on the Vegan Hour twice. So, yeah. And
so we lived really close to each other. We were doing the same comp, which was an INBA one up in Brisbane.
Right, yes.
And so that was my second comp that I did. And very, very shortly after that, I broke my leg.
Oh, really?
Yes.
What, just because you were bored one day?
No, I fell over a fence. I did Spartan race the whole day before and did like a 21-kilometre race, and then you would think I would have broke it there, but no, I fell over a fence the next day and broke my leg.
That's a rather painful experience, isn't it?
Yeah, I was in a full straight lock race for 12 weeks.
12 weeks, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, well, I've been through the exact same thing, and then you had to go through the being able to bend.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And so
it's fun, isn't it?
It was not fun at all.
It's not fun at all.
I remember one of the first mornings that I did it, just after I did it, Matt wasn't there, and so I was like being miserable and couldn't really move. And there was no sort of food prepared, so I had to have Oreos for breakfast.
What's wrong with that? That's my normal breakfast. Oreos and burger or something, I don't know.
And so but then
seems completely normal to me.
And it was really good, because then I actually started getting. It was when Chrissy was doing her meals up here, and so I started getting.
Right. Yes, Chrissy was doing meals.
Yeah,
that's right.
So then I started getting some meals off her, and we kept in touch, and we became like really good friends, which is really awesome.
Chrissy is a fantastic person. Wonderful inspiration.
Yeah. Yes. And then when I wanted to get back into competing, I was struggling with my own mindset.
Right.
And I was just like, sort of I needed someone to give me a bit of a push. And so I was like, okay, I got Chrissy to coach me for the Arnold's last year, which is that photo that you shared.
That was in Arnold's last year.
Yeah.
Okay. And how did you go with that?
Just didn't win or anything like that. So no.
But you were competing.
Yeah.
And that's something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's always good, and always just like. Competing's always a hard thing. Like, I do it for me and for my personal progress, and it keeps me on track with my exercise and my diet, and it gives me a reason to turn up when I don't feel like turning up.
Yes.
So it's more that personal challenge with myself.
That goal to work towards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so getting me back into that sort of mindset where I was able to sort of feel good again and feel like I was able, to have that faith in myself again. Yeah.
There's a comment there from Linda saying, my niece is a nutritionist transitioning to vegan. I am sending the link to the course to her. Excellent.
Awesome. That's good. We need more vegan nutritionists and dietitians and things like that, because there's not enough.
Yes. I mean, it's slowly happening.
Yeah.
There are some pioneers that have been doing it a long time. I'm thinking of Amanda Benham in Brisbane. You know Amanda?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, she has been vegan 35 years. Yeah. I'm not sure how long she's been a nutritionist. Always trying to get her on the show and always trying to find a date that works for her and I, you know, so she'll be on the Vegan Hour one of these days.
Yeah.
But yes, every now and then I'll see on a vegan forum or something, I'll see somebody popping up saying that they're vegan and they're doing, you know, a nutrition course or something.
Yeah.
And, you know, I think, oh, good, here's another one coming through.
Yeah.
You know, so
it's definitely a really good sort of area to like be in, and it's a really sort of expanding area.
Yes, yeah,
which is good.
Definitely, because the growth of veganism is skyrocketing, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it's definitely a good area to be in. Now, helping women achieve their goals. So you've got this Facebook group.
Yeah.
And then are there other ways that you help them as well?
Yeah, I have my transition program. So it's basically when I was doing general coaching and things like that when it comes to like personal training and just sort of a bit of fat loss. And late last year, after all the whole debacle with our gym and everything like that, I was sort of at a bit of a crossroads at life, and I was like, well, I need to do something that sort of really I feel good is good for me.
Mm-hmm.
Now I need to really work on just what I need to do and how I can help others doing that, and that was to really focus on just vegan, like people being vegan, helping people go vegan, and that sort of transition phase, because I was finding a lot of my clients that that's what they start doing. They start transitioning to veganism through working with me. So I'm like got my really sort of like supportive little happy niche here.
This is good. And how are these women getting hold of you? How are they finding out about you?
On Facebook or
through your page that we shared earlier.
Yeah,
which I'll share again for those that might have missed the earlier link. Which is that one there. Hopefully that is actually the correct link.
Yeah.
So women can get a hold of you straight through that page. Send you a message.
Yeah, send me a message.
And then where do they go? Where do you go from there? Do you sort of work out a personal plan for them to achieve what they want to achieve?
With just the transition program, it's more just focusing on recipes, on meal plans based around just healthy, like general healthy lifestyle and things like that. And it's got a group that's like a coaching group attached to it.
That's good. Yes.
Like a support group.
A support group. So you're like the mentor, and then you've got the support group of other people that are doing the same thing.
Yeah.
Or have maybe gone through it as like right through it. They've gone through it and they're fully vegan now in that support group.
There's a lot of people that are like starting their journey. There's a lot of people that are have been junk food vegans and are sort of wanting to get healthier, and then there's a few people that are sort of have been vegan for a little while, and they're just wanting to really like hone in on everything.
So what would you recommend for somebody that say has no hair and likes to be a junk food vegan? I mean, you know, I can't think of anyone that fits that description, but how to resist the temptations of those vegan burgers and pizzas and things. What would you recommend?
We really have to set your environment up for success firstly.
That's a very good suggestion. You have to set your environment up for success.
Yeah. So if you come to my house, you'll notice that there's no junk food there.
Right.
There's no like any of them, because otherwise I eat it.
Yeah, exactly. If it's in the cupboard, you're gonna eat it.
Yeah. If there's some of Elle's donuts from All Time, I'm gonna eat them. If there's some of like Veggie bars, like there's no hiding it. It's there. I'm gonna eat it. It's like you've got to set your environment up for success. Make it hard for you to choose those things. I know it's getting harder because the restaurants are getting closer and closer. Like you used to have to travel for ages to get to any vegan restaurant.
I'm negotiating with Greenhouse to actually have an outlet in my house. I mean, why not?
Yeah.
But yes, that is with the tools of success. Then you can achieve.
Yeah. So definitely setting up your environment, make it so much easier for you to succeed than it is to fail. If you're constantly bombarded with temptation, there's only, like, we're all human, there's only so many times you can be like, no, oh yes.
So again, that is what you might call a cheat meal.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
And so I usually would have maybe 1 or 2 a week, just for general lifestyle, 1 or 2 a week.
Yeah.
If you're eating really good whole food plant-based diet, Monday through Saturday, and maybe having a couple of meals on Sunday where you get to choose greenhouse or feed the earthlings.
John's comment is spot on. Harry doesn't eat at home, he reviews vegan restaurants all day. It's pretty close to accurate. Yeah. Carissa says, yes, I agree. I have teenagers, so I have junk in the house. I just won't cook when on a fast or eating raw, nor do I stay in the kitchen long. Yeah. So, yes.
It is difficult if you've got to have junk in the house, and it just makes it easier if you can sort of engineer everything so it's like you don't have that temptation, you don't get off track with your eating. And I think I have pretty big motivators for eating healthy a lot of the time, with having illness and things like that, which will lapse. And if I literally became a junk food vegan, I think I'd go back to having the exact same problems I was having as a vegetarian.
So that's in the back of your mind. It's like when you maybe get that little edge of temptation happening there in the back of your mind, like, no, hang on, I know how I was before, and I don't want to be like that again. So I'm healthy now. I'm really happy with where I'm at now. So like when I went to
America last year, I came back. I had a pretty big flare when I came back, but it wasn't so bad that it was like as bad as what it used to be. But it's still like you're living off sort of junk food, high oil, a lot of processed food. We were having a lot of Cliff bars.
Nothing wrong with that.
Larry and Lenny's bars, like all the time.
I haven't heard of them. Are they an American?
No, they have
Larry and Lenny's.
Yeah. Okay. If you go to Foodworks, I think
they're in Foodworks, are they?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've tried to. I hate that Foodworks is open till 9 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
It's just like, damn it, why do you guys have to be open till 9 o'clock at night, 7 days a week? Yeah. Seriously, you're making it too easy.
Yeah, so that's the thing, like if you can sort of make it difficult for yourself you've got to hop in the car or hop on your bike and drive down there, it does make it a little bit more difficult.
There's no doubt there is a really good feeling for when you start achieving your goals and sticking to them. There is a strong mental component to be able to do that, isn't it?
Yeah.
And as you say, you have to have the right motivators. And for you, it's health. It's like, okay, the ethical side is you will always be vegan. That's obvious.
Yeah.
But the other side is, but also I want to be a healthy vegan. Yeah.
Exactly.
So we actually haven't talked about the ethical side of it much.
Yeah.
We haven't really talked about the animals and how you feel about them or you love about them. So can we talk a little bit about that? So,
sure.
I guess you love animals.
Yeah. And for me, there's no difference. Like I have 3 rescue cats.
Oh, you have 3 rescue cats?
Yeah, I have 3 rescue cats, Bubbles, Lucy and Maddie. 2 of them, when we bought our last house, they actually came with the house because the lady who owned them passed away, and no one wanted them.
Wow.
And one of them Maddie wouldn't have probably been adopted. She was just a bit of a bully street cat when we first got her. Now she's super lovely, except she's having a bit of a pee problem at the moment. But other than that, she's a super lovely cat now. But she was just like literally had been just left outside to pretty much fend for herself, and Lucy was their little pride and joy.
Okay, yeah, I can understand there would have been a little bit of friction there between them, probably.
Yeah.
One had been looked after, and the other had been.
Maddie's like Lucy's mum.
Oh, okay.
She's like her mum, but just like they just treated them totally different. And then I had Bubbles. Bubbles was a rescue that I got from the Welfare League.
So, do you? How do you go? Have you? Over the time that you've been vegan and that, have you had a chance to look at some of the really hard-hitting documentaries like Earthlings and that?
I haven't watched Earthlings.
No,
I don't know how I would go.
Yeah.
And that's like...
I'm not suggesting that you... obviously you don't need to, but I just wondered if you
No, I haven't watched Earthlings. I've pretty much watched every other one.
Okay,
And that was one of the things, like I saw Dominions coming up and
Yes,
I'm like,
actually,
I really want to go, but am I going to leave and be totally heartbroken?
Yes, but I'm going to go, and I know that it's going to be it's going to be difficult, but but we need to know that in a way well, it helps. It helps a lot of us. It helps myself and a lot of us in a conviction of saying, yes, we know that we're doing the right thing. This is, it just reinforces it. But yes, it can be difficult, and I've heard it said a few times that if we've already made the ethical choice to be vegan, that we don't necessarily need to see earthlings if it's going to really upset us that much.
And I do think that I'll have that feeling if I did watch it.
Yeah.
I think I'll be strong and go watch Dominion because I'll have a whole bunch of vegans around me.
Yes.
And that might make it a little bit more supportive.
Yes, definitely. Yes, and also it's interesting to see the reaction of like-minded people when you watch a film like that with them.
Yeah.
When the sequel to Earthlings came out 2 years ago, which was only shown for one night in Brisbane, was it called Unity? I think it was called Unity. Somebody maybe can remind me. And we went up and saw it. I remember James Aspey was there, and it was maybe 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And it was very, very interesting because the audience...
Group dynamic.
Yeah, the group dynamic was very interesting. At least it's not as hard hitting a video to watch or a movie to watch as Earthlings, but at least half the audience was in tears at some point.
Yeah.
It was quite moving, and so yeah, it was really interesting and it's good to be amongst people that feel it, that get it. Yeah, that get it. I'd hate to be sitting somewhere watching something like that and there's people that are just laughing at it or something. That'd be horrendous.
Like, I saw this post the other day of there's just some crap that gets around on the internet, really. And you just wonder what people go through their head.
Yeah.
And it was actually really disgusting and disturbing. It's like, why would you even say something like that? Like, it just makes that's another living being that you're talking about like that. Like,
there's some very disappointing memes and yes, which is just a reflection of how disturbed, I guess, the individual that created it is, isn't it? I mean, they're obviously not in a good space. Because I see some of this stuff and I look at it and I think, no, I'm not sharing this onto my page. No. It doesn't really serve a useful purpose in educating or awareness or even a humour or something.
That's exactly right.
Okay, so we've got about less than 10 minutes left. So do you have recommendations, talking about documentaries and that, do you have recommendations when you're, helping women transition?
Yeah.
Documentaries that you recommend to them?
So good one is What the Health. Everyone sort of recognises that now, and it's become a really good one. Forks Over Knives is a really good one. Back to the good old days, and that was sort of around the time I was transitioning and learning everything and making sure I was eating a whole food plant-based diet.
Back in the good old days.
Yeah.
Forks Over Knives is good, and also their Facebook page.
Yeah,
it's really good.
Lots of resources on there.
Lots of resources,
What else is that? Cowspiracy is a good one about the environmental impacts. I'm just like...
that's good. No, that's good. I was also thinking nutritionfacts.org for information for people.
Dr. Gregor.
Dr. Gregor, yeah.
Also anything that I spoke with Dr. Clapper at his event that Lucy organised in Sydney, and that was a really great event, and he's actually finishing up at True North and stuff like that, so he can go. I think he might be putting together a course just on the down low. So
another inspiring person that just
be really exciting.
It is fantastic the amount of awareness that some of these vegan doctors are creating and the achievements they're having with their patients.
The success and everything.
It's also when you look at some of them, they've been doing it, some of them for decades.
Yeah.
And it's amazing that it's only now, in the last few years, started to really become noticed.
Yeah.
But they've been working on plant-based diet to help their patients for decades.
Since like the 80s, I think.
Yeah, which is pioneering.
Yeah.
It's just, wow.
Yeah.
That was before Facebook, before live stream. Oh, we glitched for a second there, and I saw that just go flash like that. So hang in there, Facebook. You're doing well. Hang in there, live stream. you managed to get through most of the episode without glitching on us.
Just hang in there a few more minutes.
Hang in there a few more minutes. So, what else what would you like to share?
I was talking the other day actually in the vegan activist group, and one of the big things sort of I'm going to be focusing on, not just with my health thing, is I'm just crazy, I think. I'm
you've come to the right place.
Doing my law degree, and I finish up sort of at the start of next year, I think.
Okay.
Just depending on how my subjects will work out. I'm going to be moving into. I want to do like policy change and use that sort of as a way to sort of start making changes. With that's like where my activism side is going. Is really like I've pretty much done a law degree now. I'm going to be finishing it. I may as well use that.
Fantastic.
For, like animal rights policy. Things like that.
The Animal Justice Party will come knocking on your door.
I would love that. I actually would love to get involved with them.
Yes, you should do, because they're fantastic people. They're trying to achieve exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, I don't know if they want a girl in a bikini talking about politics and things like that. I don't know. Maybe that's okay.
Maybe don't wear the bikini when you're doing that part of it. I mean, you can wear many hats, you know. You can be on stage in a bikini, you can be a lawyer.
Yeah.
You know, why not? You can have more than one talent.
Yeah. Some of the people, I think, get a bit funny.
Intimidated, maybe?
Yeah,
or something?
I don't know. We're a bit funny about, like, being... like intelligent and talking about that side of things, as well as being the confident and...
Well, then your mission then is to change people's perception.
Yeah, definitely.
and to show them that anything is possible. Because it is. Anything is possible. So we need activist lawyers, Linda says. Yes, definitely we do. Because that level, laws need to be changed because it's pretty pathetic, really, where laws are at when it comes to animal rights.
And they're so, like, in general, laws are pretty reactive, and they happen a lot down the track.
Yes.
And so maybe not even in my lifetime, but at least if I can be on the front of it, sort of putting those changes in place, so that later on down the track people can come take the baton off me and keep moving forward. And it was really interesting because it only just sort of came to me. I'm like, well, I'm doing this degree, like, what am I going to do with it? And there's really not a huge number of people getting into that area of law. Like, none of the people who I do my degree with are looking to get into that area of law, because it's probably not one that, like, most people need to, like, be able to pay bills and stuff like that. But I already have my business. I work on that and help people with that side of things, and then that would be my activism and my giving that side of things.
I feel very excited about the possibilities there.
Yeah.
And also about your approach, that you could be setting the foundation for others to take it forward in future.
Well, I would hope that we would have quicker change, that I would be able to see all those changes play out. But that, like, with how fast things move, it's just...
Well, when it comes to law and it's not always the speed it needs to be, is it?
Yeah.
But talking about change, in the time you've been vegan, in the 8 years, what do you think about the changes that you've seen in that?
Oh, it's just been amazing. Really, it's just so. I've gone from being the only vegan in, like, this whole group of people who are my friends and family and everything, to knowing so many vegan and knowing other people that are in that group that are then going vegan. And
to also you personally being an inspiration for others.
Yeah.
You know, being a mentor and you know, helping others to transition because they can see how well it's worked for you.
Yeah.
And you know, I mean, that paying it forward, that service, that's hits you right there in the heart, doesn't it?
That's like what I sort of live for, and that's when I was sort of struggling to find a purpose after everything that happened with our gym.
Yes.
And so that sort of came to me as like, okay, this is what I deep down know is my purpose and mission. I had it on the sidelines for a little while, and it's time to just focus on that and do what makes me happy, but in turn that's going to make other people happy too, because veganism is one of those things that, like, it makes you happy, but it makes everyone that it touches happy as well.
It's a wonderful service. You couldn't perform a better service than doing that for the animals, for the people, for the environment,
for health, for everything,
for the future. I mean, that's a good topic to wind up on.
Yeah.
John says, yes, we need to create Constitution for Animal Rights, so we need vegan lawyers. So yes, definitely. I feel really, I'm touched and impressed that that's what you want to do. I think it's fantastic. Yeah. So thank you. Thank you very much.
No problem.
For coming along tonight.
It's gone so quickly.
It has gone so quick.
I can't believe how quickly it's gone.
And you didn't even get into technical terms like branch chain amino acids or anything.
No, I didn't. I didn't get into intermittent fasting or any of that.
You didn't? No, actually.
Nothing that went all the way over your head.
No, thank God for that. We really just set the foundation. But having said that, if you want to find out about branch chain amino acids and intermittent fasting and how to improve your health on a vegan diet, Amanda is the person to speak to. You can contact her, send her a message through her. Just click on her name in this live stream, and it'll take you to a page, and you can send her a message through there, and then she will just help you to become a healthier version of yourself, and maybe even eat less vegan junk food.
Well, Paige, no, you'll have to watch it back.
Paige, you'll have to watch it back. Now, also tonight's episode, of course, will be on YouTube, hopefully within a couple of days. The new super clear YouTube version with the beautiful webcam that we're filming it with. I want to thank everyone that has joined in tonight, all the comments and all the people that have been watching. Thank you very, very much. I hope you've enjoyed tonight's episode. Now, I will actually be back next Tuesday night, even though I'm doing these shows every fortnight this year. I am back next Tuesday night for a special episode with vegan doctor, Dr. Amy.
Oh, awesome.
Yes, Dr. Amy will be joining me, and she is a live wire. If you've seen, actually stay tuned for the full, I've done a teaser promo video. There's a full version of that which will come out. I'll either put it out tonight or tomorrow. So it's our version of when Harry met Amy, actually.
That's good.
It's different. It's not as good as I'd like to be, but anyway, we'll see. We'll see. So join us next week. That's Tuesday, March the 6th at 7:30 p.m. for episode 5 of TVH. So until then, guys, remember to live vegan and save lives. And thank you once again.
Thank you, Harry. It's been a pleasure.
It's been wonderful to have you here.
Everyone.
And guys, have a great week, and I will speak to you soon. Good night.
Bye.